Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel.
Probably a little easier to take these off first, get the linkages out of the way. This one appears to have smooth rotation, so I'm not going to mess with it for the moment. If it breaks, I'll swap it out, but for now I think I'm going to squeeze a little extra grease in there and leave it as is. Get out a Q-tip and clean that other out drive right away so I don't forget about it. Nice and smooth, no wobble or jiggle. Yeah, we need to check this. Yeah, same issue. A little tight. Teeny bit more. Okay, let's get grease on the dog bone. Okay, so let's see, front suspension, where the steering looks pretty towed out. These could be a little different than the original parts as far as just how long these linkages are, so I'll do whatever adjustments I need when I get to the finishing. I wanted to check out these back shocks, and what I'm going to do is I've got a whole bunch of springs from various off-road kits, because I buy, you know, different weights of springs so that I can test and find what works best for a given track. And I want to put a stiffer spring back here if I can, so I'm going to start by taking one of the springs off and measuring the inner diameter of the spring and comparing it to the springs that I have, so I can let you guys know, if I can, what size and what manufacturer you can get some springs from. And I may... See, that's got pretty good damping. I think a stiffer spring alone might be enough as opposed to doing a fluid change, so I'll think I might try starting there. See, I don't really have any idea how stiff these are, so I'm kind of have to do it by feel. But let's start with size. So looks like 17, maybe 17 and a half. Let's try. Okay. These are off the 10 SCTE. 17.5. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so what you want to do is search for springs for the 4x4 10, that's TEN, not the number, SCTE, like that. Okay, and the one I'm holding here is for the reds, which are a 2.7 pound spring. Now, that's weird that I've got one silver and one red. I wonder how I ended up with that, but figure it out later. Let's see, the orange is a 3-pounder. Let's try kind of squeezing these, one in each hand. See if I can, I mean, there's no science to that. Let's try the 3.6. I think the 3, well, no, I've got a 4.2. That's going to be the 4.2. And then we got the 4.5. The 4.5 is on a vehicle at the moment. See, that's why I cut these cards off, and usually they're off of the, you know, the piece itself. And then I write down the specifics, the color, whether it's front or rear, part number if I can, vehicle type, and vehicle, and then the weight, most important of all. So I could go with a shorter spring if it's a good bit heavier. 4.5 pounds is probably a lot heavier than we got here. Those are pro lines, those won't fit. Those are going to be a mil short. Wait, those were in here. These are the 4.2s. Yeah, blacks. Okay, so greens. At 3.6. Oh, big change. Let's clean that a little better. I'm going to take out some of this preload I've got here. Okay, let's do 6, more or less. Damping still feels good. They haven't lost anything. Not leaked or anything. Okay. Let's see if I got any more info here. No, I do not have a part number. Okay, so anyway, just to recap, I'm using the the 10-SCTE. I think that is, it's either Losi or Associated. I think that's the the TLR short course truck, 10 scale, all-wheel drive, and the green 3.6 pound spring set. Now, one way to help test this and get a good comparison is I'll go to the same little bump track where I was running this the last time, and we'll see how it handles the jumps. And I might just, I think I'll just bring that box of springs with me, and that way I can switch stuff around if I think something, if it's not working well. I could also try putting some of these springs up front. I mean, there's no doubt that the TLR springs, even for any given weight, are going to be a higher quality spring than these. They're going to be better performing. They'll be more equal left to right. I'll take these springs and put them in the spares, along with these items. Okay, I can plug this back in, and I need to reattach the switch because it shifted. I think that will do nicely. Okay, so time to put the body back on, and then wheels and tires, and we are good to go, other than a little suspension adjustment. Take care of that wire in a moment. Let's go ahead and get these screws and bushings put back in. Don't over tighten those. In fact, again, they're in plastic, so they're not going to unscrew. Just snug them. You don't need them to bite in or anything. You want the body to be able to lift off without any problems. Okay, good. Oh yeah, battery strap. Might as well put that in. Wing. And I took the roof off because I wanted to clean in there a little bit. I'm also thinking about putting a camera in here for a few runs. It might be too bouncy, but it'd be interesting to get in first-person view for some videos for you guys. Try and come up with some neat stuff. Okay, and here's another thing that you would not know if you had not seen the original couple of videos. I have marked these wheels front left with direction, rear left, etc. And that definitely makes it easier to make sure that you're putting the same tires back in the same places. That's particularly important when you're dealing with race tires, but still a good practice to get used to doing. I do like this buggy, truck, whatever you want to call it. It's got a nice stance to it. It's got these big tires. If you watched the earlier videos, you saw that I put a set of good foams in here and drilled some extra holes to make sure there was enough ventilation so that the tires respond quickly. They spring back to size quickly. Definitely something I recommend if you saw the foams that were in here originally, the ones that came with the car. They were pathetically scary. It's basically a strip of flat foam that someone rolled into a circle and glued. So you've got this strip of glued foam that's, you know, doesn't have anywhere the same consistency as the rest of the foam ring. And because it's flat, it's not molded, you've got this oddly shaped thing that is not going to do what it's supposed to do at the level of performance that these will. And it's definitely worth it. Especially if you're going to jump these things and really fling them around a bit and have some fun, speed run them, whatever. I think I got 29 miles or 39 miles an hour out of this last time. I forget. It's plenty fast. I mean, for dirt, you really don't need these things to be super fast because you're never going to get going 39 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour on anything but a really open section of grass or dirt. And even then, you have very little control over the vehicle. Those rear springs are much better. The car really has some stance to it. I might want to angle these out at the bottom a little more. That will lower it a teeny bit, but it'll also it'll give a little more leverage on the springs. I think I'm going to take all the preload out of these to start with. Just start with that. See, I've got almost no droop, which shows you that those springs are considerably stronger. So let's see, those were 3 6s, 3 0s, 3s. Maybe I should go down to 3 3s right now, because it's good to have a little droop in your suspension. Otherwise, the suspension doesn't have anywhere to go in one direction. You don't want the car to be jacked. Okay, I should explain that. Okay, let's say this is our suspension arm. Okay, if you've got a bottom out point and a max travel point. If it's sprung so strong that it's sitting at max, even with the weight of the vehicle, and I don't have a battery in here, so that is a factor. I should really put the battery in here while I'm testing this. I'm going to. If it's already maxed like that and the springs are holding it at its highest point, if you go over a depression like a pothole, the wheel doesn't have anywhere to go. It can't drop any further, so the entire vehicle has to shift weight down into that hole. Whereas if the car suspension has some sag in it and there's a depression, the tire can move downward into that void and then back out again. Likewise, when you go over a bump, the suspension is supposed to go up out of the way and then back down the other side while the car stays as level as possible. Now, the car is always going to move some, but that's the idea behind your suspension, is that the suspension moves and the car doesn't, ideally. Do you find these videos to be helpful, useful to you? Then please help me keep this channel going by donating. Click the link up here and you can donate safely through PayPal on either a one-time or a monthly basis, your choice. And before I move this shock and start doing that, I'm going to put the battery in here. I love that they give us a big 3S and a hard pack too. So many of the cars come with soft case batteries, and you really shouldn't run a soft case battery in cars. They're illegal for racing. Roar and other race associations require a hard cased battery. I'm not going to bother pinning that down right now because I'm just testing the suspension. So how much sag? I got a little sag. I'm gonna go down in spring weight instead of changing the shock angle. That's good. We got about maybe almost a ½ inch of sag, so I can live with that for the moment. Pull the battery so I can charge it up. Always keep your batteries in fireproof bags. And one of the things I do, because I bought a bunch of these bags, is I put the number of cells, milliamp hours, and the type of battery. Sometimes if it's for an airplane, I'll put the name of the airplane. If it's something that I've bought very specifically because of size constraints, excuse me, not restraints. It's not a seatbelt. Just little things that help keep stuff organized, make it easy to find stuff when you got a handful of models, you know. Okay. I'll worry about the camera thing later, whether or not I'm going to try that. What I want to do is use one of my GoPros because they've got some image stabilization, so that'll help reduce the jiggle and make it potentially more enjoyable video. If it's, you know, I don't want to give you guys seizures. If it bounces too much, it just becomes unwatchable. You just get sick. And so I can probably just take this little panel out right here and then mount the camera inverted here, and that should work. Point it right out through the driver's side. Anyway, we'll see. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and please subscribe to my channel. If you click the bell icon, you'll receive notifications every time I launch a new video. Thank you for watching.